It gives me incredible pleasure to welcome to the stage the director of the film, Lucy Walker, and of course, our subject, Kevin Pearce. So we have like about 10 or 15 minutes for Q&A, and I just want to open it up to the house. I actually want to let you say a few words if you have anything you want to just say, because you didn't do an intro. Just a quick hello to everybody.
Thank you so much for coming. The film's opening December 13th in this very theater. I'm so impressed that you came out at 11:30 in the morning, but the idea was that nobody would come and that actually we could be part of Doc NYC without actually spoiling our theatrical release in the same theater December 13th. In order to play this game, you have to tell all your friends to come back December 13th, Friday the 13th of December, and also visit our website and sign up on like our Facebook page and use our Twitter handle. The Crash Reel is the Crash Reel on Facebook, Twitter, website, crashreel.com. I'm Lucy Walker Film, social media. Yes, thank you, love it. Thank you so much. But mainly, what an amazing family, what an amazing member of the family. And actually, I was just looking at the credits. God, that stuff you did, man. Amazing. And he's here today. Thank you so much to the world for that.
Yeah, you know, to be straight honest with you, it's crazy to watch that film and to see that much. And, you know, there's so many different pieces, and it's so awesome for me to see it because such a huge amount of that movie I don't have any remembrance of. You know, that first 27 days, I don't remember anything from there. And then, you know, those next 3.5 months in that rehab hospital, Craig, I remember little pieces of it, but not a lot of it. So to have that and to, you know, for me to be able to see where I was and to visually see that is so important. And, you know, like my mom said, and like the doctor said, that's so healing for me to be able to have that footage to be able to see. And, you know, when I get down on myself and I get bummed about things that are going on, I just watch that and be like, whoa, it was way worse and I am so much better. And then, you know, another huge piece of the film, which obviously Lucy did such an amazing job showing, is the family. And, you know, I was so in it at that point and so involved with healing and getting better that I wasn't, you know, in that place where I could kind of step back and like kind of see what my family was doing and really understand that piece of it. And so to be able to see that for an hour and a half, like the amount of help they gave me to come back is just so awesome for me. And now I can kind of, like everyone else, be like, whoa, I got a really cool family and I am really lucky. So it's awesome to have the film.
Kevin's now in the t-shirt business. Are you wearing one?
And we actually have them for sale. I'm not blowing glass, but I'm making t-shirts. Kind of the same, right? No, but so I'll get into this real quick. This is kind of come from the film, and you guys saw me talking with my doctor about loving my brain, and you know that has been so hard for me. And for so long, to be completely honest, I hated myself, and I get so mad when I do these little things, and I just do the stupidest things, and I just feel like, you're such an idiot, you're so stupid. And, you know, in fact, that's really kind of damaging to your brain, and where I just need to be like, you know, I'm so lucky I have this amazing brain. And, you know, even for David, it's like he goes through things, and everybody, you know, you get mad at yourself, and it's not good for you. And so we started this, you know, and to help everybody that's going through stuff. And actually downstairs we brought some in to sell it, and all of this money is going to help people. And it's been cool to kind of, that's what I've kind of found my new passion is, helping. And it's crazy the medical bills, you know, that come when you have an injury like this. That first hospital at the University of Utah was like $20,000 a day or something. I mean, luckily because my amazing parents, I had insurance, so I had that covered. But if I didn't, it would have been like
$500,000. For his first hospital bill was $500,000. And you'd be amazed how many of his colleagues are not covered by insurance, do not wear helmets. And so we're also doing a whole advocacy outreach campaign around Love Your Brain, which is, and Outside Magazine is covering it in full next month, for example, and talking about how we are shaking up this world because we are really, Kevin's taking such leadership on encouraging people to wear helmets. And we're trying to get information to athletes about what to do if you hit your head. We have a wonderful infographic. And there's a whole advocacy piece with Love Your Brain and Kevin's foundation that's really been incredibly gratifying. And we were just at a screening last night in Boston with all these brain injury survivors. Amazing. That's amazing.
There's so much of it out there, and it's like, I talk about it in the film how it's so invisible and it's so silent, but so many people have had this happen to them and are dealing with recovering from it. And to be able to help them, you know, I got so much help. Obviously you guys saw it, and so for me to be able to, I know it so well and know how important it is, so for me to be able to give help really feels pretty amazing. What was the first
and how
question?
we met is we met at, I was invited to
Oh,
mentor
yeah,
at
how
a
we
retreat.
met.
I didn't meet Kevin till after the accident, but I don't think you could probably tell that, right? Because it's so seamlessly edited by the amazing Pedro Cas. And we got 232 different archival sources, 232 separate places we got footage from, separate places. It was an enormous amount of work. But we were able to put that story together of what happened up to the point I met Kevin when I started shooting with him, which was over 3 years ago. And so I just met Kevin right after the accident, and we instantly wanted to make the movie. I was instantly blown away, and I realized my first thought was, oh wait, maybe the story's over because he'd crashed. And then I observed that there was no way the story was over. I didn't know where it was going, but he was determined to get back on a snowboard, and that didn't seem realistic, or maybe it was. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was worried about him. I was excited to meet him. I just wanted to follow him, and I did, and you wanted to do it too, and we had this idea that it would be wonderful to tell the story because nobody's told a story like this before. There are so many glamorous crashes and nobody actually shows you what really people go through, and that's the short answer.
For me, it was pretty easy to have a camera around because I've always been filmed, so it's pretty normal. But for my family, I mean, my mom and dad, they don't get filmed every day. So it's like for them that they kind of just jumped on board and they were like, I think they felt the power of our family and what we could create here. And it was like they saw that opportunity and saw how important it was. So when Lucy called up and was like, we're going to come to Thanksgiving dinner, everyone was like, oh boy. But in fact, it was like she came and they had the cameras there, and I don't know how, but my parents and brothers just, it was like as if they weren't even there. They just made it so normal. And the best part about this movie and what I love most is how honest it is. I mean, you guys just sat here for whatever it was, an hour and a half, and now you know exactly how my family is. Like that is how we are. That is a total Pearce dinner right there, and that is like kind of what happens. And that's what's so amazing about this film, is how it just shows how incredible they are, and how a really successful family, what can come of it. So I love that.
Thank you. And my big trick is working with amazing people. I have lots of tricks and tips. My main trick is working with people that I think have that gift of opening up, and I think also that philosophy of, if you have a disability, don't be ashamed of it, be courageous and be honest about it, because that's very helpful. And we had a tiny crew. The dinner scenes, for example, were me and our amazing DP, Nick Higgins. And I love to ask people, how many cameras do you think were at that dinner? Because they usually say 3 or 4. And I'm like, no way, that was one camera with Nick Higgins doing it. Amazing verite DP. And me doing sound. And I'm less amazing at sound recording, but just I think that tight unit sort of helps, helps. Because otherwise in documentaries, like, the crew becomes the thing, and then you kind of like they jump the shark, and the whole thing that happens, the only thing that's happening that day is the film crew came over. And instead, whereas this was like they were having their dinner, and they just were having their dinner, and we.
And it doesn't hurt to have Dave there. I mean, he never hurts the situation. Yeah, and that's amazing for me to hear, because if I didn't have this and people were to tell me these stories, I would just write them off and be like, whatever. I'm sure you guys are just saying that, and that's why this is so special for me, because it's like, no, you really were that bad. Like, you were in that shape.
And it's interesting. I didn't know that much about brain injury and how incredibly common it is. 400,000 veterans have it, but it's so 1.7 million TBIs a year. I had no idea. And one thing we hear a lot is how this story resonates, or other people. There's a lot of commonality with Kevin's stories and others, which I didn't even realize when I was making it. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, and my goal is, and what I hope that we can get across with this, is that we share that it's not a snowboarding film, because obviously my snowboarding's in it, and I was, it's cool to watch how successful I was in it, but really I feel like Lucy did such an amazing job bringing all the pieces in and having that whole family piece. It's like, that is what this is all about, is like so much more than me winning a lot of money snowboarding, which was really cool.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Oh, well, that's it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.